right, we are live. Good afternoon, everybody.
Everybody can set their clock for 3 o'clock right now because we start right on the top of the hour.
Yeah, we're a little slow getting going today.
We were cold.
Yes.
It took us a while to warm up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish that was the case. We just had, I'm sorry, we got delayed for a couple minutes.
Wait till Sunday. It's going
We
to
were,
be cold.
if you ever want to see have a bad vision, think about Lisa and I running to the multipurpose room, because that's kind of what we were doing, running to the multipurpose
We
room.
were.
That's
It wasn't a pretty picture.
It wasn't, no. So apologize for starting a little bit later today, but I hope it'll be worth your while to watch the show today.
Of course.
And of course, we've got the exciting Ken on the show today.
Yes, we do. It feels like we're back.
Yes,
We're back
we're
now.
back. We're back.
Because
We're
we
back.
miss you when you're not here.
Well, thank you.
We are. We do miss you, Ken.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Although I was having a lot of fun at your expense, I think, last week, so while you were here. So. I think I was giving you a lot of kudos too, though, which you know,
Okay.
deserved or undeserved,
It
I
was
don't
all
know,
good.
Ken, but we would give it to you.
All
anyway,
right.
so. All right, so let's start out with our. Well, you first. Do you have a special?
We do have a special acknowledgement
I
today.
see that. That's exciting.
That is pretty cool.
Yep.
So Lee and Nan Goodson are celebrating 71 years of marriage today.
Yeah, 71
That's pretty
Wow.
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I thought that was something
Congrats.
we should
Now,
should congratulate
they got
them.
engaged when they were 10, and
Well, they
were married
had
at
to have.
11,
I can't
right,
imagine.
think. No, they really did not, actually, but that's amazing, isn't it?
Oh,
71
that
years.
is. So that's pretty special.
Happy anniversary, that's great.
Okay, the trivia question today is from Dick Witt.
Very good.
Now, that is a surprise.
He should. You're right. Michelle just said Dick Witt should get a bottle of wine just because he gives us all these questions. So it's a good suggestion.
It's
So-
a good suggestion. We won't take it any further than that, but it's a really good suggestion.
This is a nice cheesecake wine,
I'm kidding,
too.
Dick.
Oh,
Yeah.
so what type of wine is it today?
Cheesecake is not the type.
I don't think it is.
It's a Merlot.
A Merlot.
Merlot
yeah.
again.
Merlot. Yeah.
Okay.
A
Okay.
lot of Merlot.
A
right
lot
in
of
here.
Merlot. Okay, so if you know the answer to this question, you're going to call Michelle at 336-389-4103. And the question is, whose picture is on the $10,000 bill? Did you know there was a $10,000 bill?
It's Bubba Bob.
It's Bubba Bob.
So whose picture is on the $10,000 bill?
Yeah, I would have no clue how to even approach that. I'd have to.
His picture is on his $10,000 trailer.
Yeah, since I've never had a
Bubba
yeah,
Bob
right.
is?
Since I've never had a $10,000 bill, I would not really
No.
have any idea of
No.
knowing who that is. But,
And we do not have a caller yet. Oh,
there she goes.
we might have a winner.
We might.
We might.
We might. Who is going to win
1,000
10,000?
sips of Merlot.
Merlot.
10,000. That's a lot of sips, though, I'll tell you.
It is. Small ones.
Small ones.
Yeah.
It'd be very tiny ones.
All right, so let's get into. Do we have a winner? We have a winner.
Okay, good.
So hold all the rest of your calls. So Michelle's very happy. So
Yes. That was a quick winner.
yeah, it was. But, we're $10,000 gets people to kind of
Yeah, pay
Yeah.
attention.
stand up and pay attention.
Yeah.
I think.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, I guess we ought to get into the Omicron
update,
coronavirus
yes.
statistics. Wow, North Carolina today. Holy smokes. So last week, the daily number I had, this was exactly a week ago, the daily number was, in newly reported cases, was 24,292. You want to guess what it was today? Almost double, 44,833. I mean, when I look at the graph on the North Carolina, it's amazing. I mean, it just shot right up. It's just amazing. However, our percent positive, daily percent positive, was the same this week as it was last week. So obviously we're just doing more testing and more people are positive, but it's a reflection of the percents. I think the other little bit disturbing thing to me is the number of hospitalizations. Last week we were at 3,293. Today it's 4,275, 4,275 people hospitalized. And if I remember right, I would think I was told a couple days ago we had reached the level at where we were at back in January of last
our
year,
worst
which was
time,
when it was
right.
really bad
Yep.
with the original COVID. we've reached that same number, and I think 4275 actually, I think, puts us past that number, so.
You know, those graphs are starting to look like my blood pressure.
Yeah, tell me about it, gosh. So, and then, we've had 264 deaths in the state last week. We're at 19,850 since it started, so, almost 20,000 North Carolinians have lost their life to COVID-19. And the numbers are bad. Guilford's 29.1% at the moment. Forsyth is 33.7%. And the 14-day average, I won't even share that with you. It's bad for Guilford and Forsyth. We're way up there now again. But I wanted to be able to share at least a little bit of good news. So there was a couple things I pulled off of out of the statistics today that I thought were pretty interesting. The number of people in the state who are 65 and older who have had at least one dose of the vaccine was 95%.
Wow.
Wow.
2 dose or 1 dose of the J&J, to be considered what we call fully vaccinated, 92% those 65 and older. And then 65% of the adult population, 65 and plus, have had the booster as well. So that's 2/3 have had the booster. So, maybe not surprising. The 65 plus generation is the one that's probably the most vulnerable to this, although we've seen people are catching it and people are still having trouble with it, whether they're 65 or not, or older or not. But the other thing, I'm going to end on a positive note here. I was just looking through some of the highlights of the articles for today, and a couple real positives that I think are really starting to head our way, and that is, I saw an article that said that it appears that the UK has peaked now as far as Omicron and starting to come down again. And remember, they're a couple weeks ahead of us roughly in general things. But even already in the US, there were signs that New York was one of the first hit ones with the Omicron, that they now have peaked and it's starting to slow. I'm not sure how they do this, but apparently in Boston, they test the wastewater to see how much of Omicron is in the wastewater. And so even that amount has been falling over the last week here or so. So I think we're starting to see some signs, even though we spiked here, I think we're starting to see some signs that in the US now, maybe we're starting to get close to that peak and get over. We all know that, in my opinion, it didn't help us one bit that this all happened for us right during Christmas and New Year's. And so at the time when families get together, it's super spreaders and everything else. And so, I think we're still seeing a little bit of the results of the New Year's get-togethers. But, we know it's very contagious. We know it's out there. We are not, we're not immune to it here either. You all have known that we put out several communications. We talked about this last week. River Landing still continuing to get cases. Lisa, we're at, since probably in the last 3+ weeks now, since we've been tracking the new Omicron, we've had 35 staff members that have tested positive for it. We have probably another dozen people that are out that have symptoms that could end up being Omicron. The good news from that is we have several of those folks now that have already cycled through the Omicron and passed protocols and now are back at work. So, but we're still getting it. I mean, we had 6 on Monday, we had 2 on Tuesday, we had, 3 or 4 yesterday, and we had another couple today. So, I mean, we're still getting it. It's still cycling its way through the community. And that was just staff, and now we've also started to see, some of the independent living residents are coming to us and letting us know that they're positive, and I think we've had
So we have 5 confirmed at this point.
5 confirmed so far altogether, but 1 or 2 of those have already come back past protocol and come back out. We've got a few that are still in protocol at this point, just trying to get through it. Fortunately, again, other than 1 staff member that we have, it's really been more mild symptoms, mild to maybe, a little bit more than mild.
Moderate, yeah.
We have 1 staff member that's been sick for the last 16 or 17 days, and so that staff member is struggling a little bit.
And we don't have any hospitalizations at this point.
That we know of. We don't have anybody that's hospitalized.
Yeah.
That's correct. So, that's a good sign, obviously. And it's a little, as many, even though we have a lot more exposures and a lot more people are positive now than what we had really last year at this time, it's a little easier to report because it's just not, people are not getting sick enough to have to go into the hospital, fortunately, so far. And that was not the case, unfortunately, as we know, last time. We were struggling with that.
And I think it's important to point out we have 0 healthcare residents
Thank
that
you,
are
Lisa.
positive.
You're absolutely
So
right. So we keep testing our healthcare residents on a weekly basis.
Right.
And we have been very, very blessed, very fortunate that we do not have any healthcare residents that are positive at this point. And I'm hoping we can get through the next couple of weeks that way. Because I really do think in the next couple of weeks we're gonna peak over and start coming down the other side. I still believe that that's gonna be the way it is, and it just seems like that's the way it's been trending. So, we keep talking about this being a tidal wave or a wildfire or whatever, and that's kind of what it feels like. It's just kind of blowing through here. So.
It reminds me of a conversation I had with my 6th grade teacher.
Yeah.
I was telling her I could do better, and she says, "Well, Mr. Massey, I think you've peaked."
It's
Yeah.
6th
6th grade, yeah.
Sixth grade.
Yeah.
That's when you dropped out, wasn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
That was Bubba Bob.
That was Bubba Bob, right. So, Lisa, I think that's it from the statistical side of things. We've made some changes over the last couple of weeks to try and, protect the community as best we can without going so far over the top.
Right.
And we've talked about this before, I won't belabor this, but, trying to weigh resident quality of life and yet still trying to keep people safe. And so we struggle a little bit with that, on how to do that sometimes, I think. But, we've had to make a change again this week, COVID related.
Right.
We've had quite a few of our housekeeping team that have either gotten COVID or been exposed to COVID or having symptoms that maybe aren't positive. And so, we just had to pull back and we had to go to an every other week thing. And, I appreciate all the residents who have been very understanding and sympathetic about this, and apologize. I wish we could do it every week, but you know what? I mean, this is what we're dealing with now as part of COVID. And, Joe Rojas and his team are doing the best job they can trying to get to residents who need to have their homes cleaned. And so please, have patience with that team. These are good folks, and they would be here if they could, and they would be servicing you if they could. And, that's just, this is COVID. This is what we're dealing with right now. And we've been very fortunate, I think, Lisa. We've got some contingency plans in some of the other departments that we have not really had to invoke yet at this point. And I say yet because there's still a chance that could happen, but we're hoping not. Dining is a big one, and we made the dining change about no guests, and I think that's helped a little bit. And sorry that you can't bring guests and family members in to dine with you right now, but again, I'm really hoping that these measures are going to be just temporary. We blow through this thing in a couple weeks or so, and we might be able to go back to having things be going back to normal again. So, or at least what we consider to be the new normal anyway. So we're dealing with all that. So just bear with us as we try and work through this stuff. Y'all are warriors. You all have been through this now 2 years with us. You know that we try our best to keep things going as normal, even in bad times when the percentages are high. And I promise you that we don't make these steps lightly. There's a lot of conversation, and we get a lot of feedback about this stuff. And so, and we're not alone. I just tell you, I talked with Penny Byrne. I've got a contact over there, and Penny Byrne's about the same place we are in regards to, staff and residents and what they're dealing with there, and our sister communities are dealing with the same thing, and it varies a little bit from community to community, but this is not just a River Landing thing, right? This is something that's across the board, and really across the U.S. and across the world for that matter. So, we'll just keep trying to make the right decisions at the right time. So bear with us. We'll try and give you as much notice as possible when we make changes, but we really couldn't. The housekeeping side, we really had to make that decision fast. Because that all of a sudden we went from not really having a major issue there to having a major issue there, and we had to deal with that pretty fast. So And if that wasn't enough, Lisa, we got the inclement weather that we're looking at this
Yes.
weekend that we're going to have
Yes.
to do. I guess before we get there, we need to talk. The Guilford County Commissioners are meeting tonight, and you know, we, as you all know, staff have already been. I've mandated that staff have to wear their masks on campus. Residents have been. We've strongly encouraged. I'm fully expecting that Guilford County is going to go back to a mask mandate tonight, but I could be surprised. But I just expect that with as high as the rate as what the population is, especially in Guilford County, with it being 29%, I think, today, I just can't see them not going to a mask mandate effective probably tomorrow. So we'll see. And we'll put out a notice on CareMerge and let you all know if that goes through tonight, and we'll be following that for you.
They keep your face warm during inclement weather.
Oh,
They do that. It's funny how that happens, isn't it?
good way to look at the positive.
There you go.
Trying to.
Yeah.
This is why you're on the show, Ken.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate that.
Oh,
So, you know, Lisa, so we've been not just having to monitor COVID now, we've been monitoring what's
Right.
happening with the forecast. It's amazing to me that here we are forecasting the potential for all this snow, ice, rain potential, and that the storm that they're predicting it from isn't just reached the West Coast
It's
this
just-
morning.
Yep, just
And
hit.
yet they're already, with the models they're already predicting, you know, Sunday's going to be a mess. So, you know, you look at the Weather Channel and it gets you, it's pretty detailed on the Weather Channel, but the Weather Channel has a tendency to change from moment to moment as they update their models. The local news and weather forecasts have been a little bit more cautious about wanting to wait until it actually got on land. I think we're going to see a lot more between tonight and tomorrow
Yeah.
about where we are with this storm, but there's a lot to talk about
Right.
in getting ready for the
So
storm.
we plan for worst case scenario, right?
We do.
We run through all of that. If this happens or that happens, this is what we do or not do. So just talking through this is all just potential plans that we would put out there. Okay, this is not set in stone of exactly what will happen because it truly is based on what actually comes.
That's right.
So these are things that we're talking about. This is what we'd put in place if it comes to a certain level that it comes. So the dining snow plan. We've always had a dining snow plan that we keep in our back pocket every
Right.
time that we have to pull it out.
Right.
When was the last time, Tom, that we pulled out the dining snow plan?
December 2018, when we hit the 12 inches of snow.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
So a lot of folks wouldn't know what that dining snow plan looks
Well,
like.
that's true.
So just to kind of talk about what that looks like if we need to enact it, what we do here is we operate out of the bistro for meals. So we end up having a hot buffet in there. People can go through pickup. They can eat there in the bistro sometimes. So I mean, it's just different situations depending on what the weather is outside. So we operate out of the bistro, have a hot bar type situation.
Yeah, and Lisa, the main reason for that is that we don't have enough staff to be able to open up the restaurants. So
Yep.
we really
We don't
have
have the servers. We
so
don't
we're-
have all those
We're going a
extra
little bit into
folks.
crisis mode there when
Yep.
it comes to the dining portion, wanting to be able to still have hot, fresh food for residents. But, you know, it is buffet, and it usually is just buffet only.
Absolutely, not the stations open.
We don't do the stations. It truly is the buffet, and
Yep.
we'll run that until
a
we
good
can get
hot
things
meal.
like them.
Yep.
That's the hope, right? And that's what we're trying to do.
There'll be times where we have box meals that you can take home with you. So we might have a sandwich box that you can take home for that night. So different things like that we plan for. But I think the big thing to know is it's all out of the bistro.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
we try to consolidate to one location to be able to run it.
Well, and Lisa, the main reason for the box meal is not so much for the independent living residents that live here in the apartment building, but for folks that live in the hybrids and in the cottages.
Right.
You know, if we give those to you, just saying, for instance, you know, if we know that Sunday's going to be really bad, we don't really want you coming out of your cottages and your
Right.
hybrid apartments on Sunday while it's really snowing badly and risk falling or hurting or getting stuck somewhere.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, the idea behind this is if we can get you a box meal Saturday evening that hopefully holds you over until Monday, then, you know, we're hoping that by Monday we could be in a position to be able to do that. And again, that's still, I still want to make sure I'm understanding. We're
Sure.
not putting this into place yet. We're just sharing with you what it might be
Right.
based upon what we think is coming, but we don't know that for sure yet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Another big thing, communication of changes. So when we enact these things, we communicate with CareMerge, channel 1390. If you tune to that, you will see the rolling announcements. Also, sometimes we use phone tree, so just be alerted to that. That's the ways we communicate to you, is through those means. Potential closures for Monday. If we get the weather we think we're getting, you could expect the clinic might be closed, transportation would be closed, any kind of scheduled events. So that we will make those calls and notify you on those communication tools. So just be alerted to that. Those are some of the things that might change for us on Monday.
That's right. You know, and I think the other thing to maybe share a little bit about this is that, you know, when we have these kind of events, we have volunteer staff, basically, who come in and stay on campus.
Right.
You know, we can't go without nursing services just because it snows and because people can't get in.
Mm-hmm.
So we usually have a fairly large nursing population that will stay on campus for a night or two to make sure we get over the tide of the storm. You know, we're going to potentially have some dining people, some maybe a couple EVS people to make sure we get trash pickup, security folks, right? And generally, you know, somebody from administration will stay. I usually stay here, and I'm planning at this point of being able to be here if we end up having this situation as well. And, you know, Scooter's team as well, because Scooter's team is going to be in charge of trying to get snow removal, and so, you know, it's a process, and it's a big process. It's a big thing to be able to do all this, and the biggest thing I'm so concerned about, and I just want to be able to share this with y'all. I know that if we have this storm, you're going to get cabin fever coming on Sunday and Monday. Do not go out of your homes. Do not go out on the sidewalks. Do not go out and try and drive somewhere on Sunday or Monday at this point, because you're going to slip, you're going to fall, you could hurt yourself. And you just heard me say, there is no room in the hospitals for you right now. So take it easy, relax, enjoy the weather if we get it, like they say we're going to get it, and just be at home and be at peace and pray that we don't lose power.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So that kind of leads into the other
Next thing,
with,
right? I kind of led you right there, Lisa.
how can you as a resident help with this? So of course, staying home, avoid the wintry mix. That's the biggest one.
Right.
Yeah, do Chex Mix instead.
That's right.
Chex Mix is good.
Yeah.
Oh, and just as a reminder, because a lot of folks haven't been here when we've had snow, we don't start clearing the sidewalks and driveways and all that good stuff until the snow is done.
Yeah.
So that's another big thing, is give us that time to be able to clear those areas. And what helps us is staying off those areas so we can get in there and clear those. But just know that we don't start clearing till after the snow really stops. So it takes a little bit to clear. In case of power failure, we are putting something out to you today on CareMerge and also in your in-house mailboxes, a request for volunteers in case there is power failure here. We know here in the main building we have the generator, but outside folks don't have that luxury in their homes. So if we were to have power failure, which would affect the outside homes, are there volunteers here in the main building that would be willing to take another resident in from the outside our campus right here? So that would be a big help. So we are asking for volunteers on that, and something will be in your box and on CareMerge tonight.
Yeah, and that's really, it's, you know, we asked for that back when we were having the problem last week, I guess it was, with
Absolutely.
the Aberdeen building, and the residents responded
Several
so
volunteers.
accordingly and so
Yeah.
wonderfully. And so this is a little bit different because, you know, the reality is we know the cottages have no generator
Right.
system. The hybrids have a small generator system, but it doesn't generate heat in their homes. It just does the heating and the elevators in the
areas.
common areas.
Yep.
So, you know, those folks, after a period of time, especially with as cold as it looks like it's going to be, you know, their homes are going to get pretty cold. So it'd be nice if we had some places that we could offer them
Right,
to be
right.
able to go to. So thank you for considering that.
Also make sure you have some basic emergency supplies. So every year we review this emergency supply list. So Cindy's going to put that out again on CareMerge, also on the sheet that's going to go in your in-house mailbox. But just some basic things that you should always have on hand. Water, food, non-perishable type foods, flashlights, batteries, First aid kits, your medications, make sure you have enough, at least a 7-day supply. Sanitation and personal hygiene items, your cell phone chargers, that's a big thing. Keep your cell phone charged. And of course, family emergency contact information. And there's much more in the sheet, but I'm not gonna go through all those. There's probably another 50 things you should have.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yep.
And there's a lot, flashlights and all kinds of different
Yeah.
things, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that you
But
could
those
have.
are things we should always have on hand.
But I would highly recommend for folks that live in the cottages and the hybrids to charge up their phones Saturday night, keep them plugged up through Sunday.
Yep,
And, just in case we lose power, you at least have a working phone then that way.
Absolutely.
So that would be very important, I think. Okay, I think we talked enough about the weather. And again,
Yes.
the idea behind this, we thought the show was kind of timely to do it today because, we just don't know what to expect yet this
Right,
weekend.
right.
But, we wanted to give you a little flavor as to, we've had residents say, are you all planning for the weather? It's like, oh yeah, we've been planning the last couple days here and starting to get ready for this possibility. And, it doesn't happen often here in North Carolina that we get these bigger snows like this. Usually it's the ones like we had last week, right? Where it's an
Right,
inch on the
right.
ground and it's starting to lay on the sidewalks and streets. By the way, I love those kind of snows. That's so much less problems for us. But every once in a while we get a bigger snow. And are we going to get a bigger snow this time? I don't know. But you know what? We're going to be prepared for that.
yep, absolutely. Okay, going away from snow and COVID. Construction update.
Well, so the good news is we already have our certificate of occupancy now for for the balcony stuff. So, yay!
Yes.
So in a
Yes.
sense, we're done, really. We really are done with construction. They're doing some minor touch-ups. We got to do a walkthrough tomorrow just to kind of look to see if there's anything that needs to be touched up or whatever. And then, Lisa, the best of all plans, we had the furniture coming on Monday. And so if we get this snow event, well, who knows when we'll move
Who
in.
knows?
Because we heard the next possible time after that might be early February, so we might be sitting in our place right now for another couple weeks. But
Might.
we'll see. We'll
Yep.
see what happens. And you know what? If it gets delayed, it gets delayed. That's just the way it is. But
Yep.
really, we are done. That's the nice thing. And a lot of you have probably been able to look in or see what's going on. And I know that you and I have talked. We're very happy with the way things have turned out. And
Yeah,
that
it's looking great.
the new card room area, extension of the living room, whatever you want to
Yep.
call it,
Yep.
is beautiful. And it's going to be a huge
much
add-on
used space.
for our residents
Absolutely.
for events and all. So I'm really
Yep.
excited about that.
Also, one last thing, the new HVAC system that was brought in yesterday, so the parking lot is opened back up and
Yeah.
those doors there. We apologize for any inconvenience. We heard some people had to walk 6 miles.
6 miles, yes.
Like my dad, going to
miles.
school every day. Yep.
Uphill both ways.
Yeah,
Yep.
in the snow. But, we didn't have any snow yesterday, so I don't know how they could have gotten that in there. But,
Oh.
yeah, they were kiddingly
Yes.
saying
We
that,
ran into a neat couple yesterday that was joking and messing with us about the 6-mile trek they had.
it's hard. When you kind of get used to it being a certain way and when things change from that, it's hard to adapt to that sometimes. But
That parking lot is very convenient when you're
It's
coming to
very
Wellness,
convenient.
the bistro. That is a good, I get why, that's a good spot.
absolutely.
But it is open back up again. Some other news, the Guilford College Bryan Series program featuring Steve Martin that was scheduled for Tuesday, January 25th. They have postponed that to May 10th. So that was one big event. I was glad to see that they did change that. Just any group gatherings right now, it's something that you just have to be really careful with.
Yeah,
So I was glad to see they did postpone that.
that's right.
Safety reminders. So I had a couple residents email me and say, can you remind folks again to stop at the stop signs? This goes out to everybody. This is residents, staff, visitors. So just make sure, stop at the stop signs. And of course, our speed limit is 18 miles per hour.
Yes, it is.
Yep, thank you. Oh. Okay, we have a few questions today.
Okay.
So let's see. We'll do questions and then Ken, I know you have some goodies for us,
Okay,
right?
yes.
Okay, let's get through questions. Who can I call if I have questions about quarantining or testing? So we've had a lot of people ask, how can I get tested? if I do test positive, what happens, that kind of stuff, contact resident services. So we have a great team of Cindy, Brian, and Sydney. See, I separate
You have
Cindy
to
and Sydney.
really enunciate that.
I do, and I separate them in the same
Yes.
sentence, so
Yes.
it comes across as a third person, not Cindy again.
Yes.
So,
Sydney and Cindy.
right, I know,
Say that 3 times real
I
fast.
know. So resident services, they're your go-to people.
Yes, they are.
To get questions answered related to that.
Can you do a big black bug, but a big black bear?
Big black bug with a big black bear.
Pretty good. That's a good.
That's a hard
It's a
one.
good technique to practice.
Whew.
Yeah.
Okay. So next question, what happens if I test positive for COVID? So that's a good question. So if you test positive, you're gonna call Cindy immediately, okay? That's the big thing. Cindy's your go-to person, call her immediately. We will ask you to quarantine for 10 days. So we've had some folks say, why 10 days? I see sometimes you can do 5 or you could do 7. So if you're on the CDC website, of course the 5-day is for sure there. But then the CDC website also says, take precautions until day 10 if you are around high-risk groups. We are all high-risk group here.
Yeah.
So we have to take that stance of being as careful as we can. You all dine with each other, you're in hallways together, you're in events with each other. So we are sticking with the 10-day quarantine at this point.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
we need to protect the whole here.
Right. Especially with as contagious as this virus
Yes,
particularly is.
yeah.
We need to hold steady to the 10 days.
We do. So we need to be more conservative on that.
That's right.
Resident services can assist you with checking your mail, getting it delivered, and they'll also check on you via phone call. They'll check in, how are you doing, how are your symptoms today, all those good things. So you'll likely have a call from one of the resident service team members just checking up on you. You may have your meals delivered, and of course that's no charge for that. If you have a spouse, this is a big one, Tom.
Okay.
Sometimes only one spouse tests positive.
Right.
They may test at the same time, but only one is positive. The other spouse, even though you may not be positive at that point, we still are asking you to lay low as well. You don't want to be coming out, having meals with people, going to an exercise class, playing a game with someone. You also need to watch yourself because you have been exposed to someone that is a direct contact with you and probably, for sure, close exposure. So as a spouse, you also need to heed those precautions.
Yep.
And I know it's hard to do that when you're like, I'm not positive, but you could turn positive at any point either with living with someone that's positive. So we are asking that all spouses also stay low.
Right. Ken, this is where you usually say something about, this is a time when you don't want to be positive.
Right. Yeah, I've already done that shtick.
I know you did. But I liked it so much, I thought I'd bring it back one more time. And it's been a week or two.
Let's
since-
be more negative.
Thank you, Ken. We needed that.
Okay, I have been tested for COVID, but was negative. I still have cold-like symptoms. Do I need to quarantine? So this was a really good question that I thought we'd take a few minutes on. If you're experiencing any type of sickness, whether you think it's just a cold, allergies, whatever it might be, you want to stay away from others at this point because you don't know. We actually had a situation just recently, this week, where someone thought they had a cold and then they tested positive. And at that point, they'd already exposed people that they ate with, and so we had to go back to those folks and say, you've definitely been exposed to someone. So any type of cold symptoms, anything like that right now, just keep to yourself. And really the rule of thumb is stay home until you've been symptom-free for 24 hours without medication.
Yeah.
That really is the rule of thumb with any kind of sickness right now. There's just so much going on because it's this time of year too where we get sick with things.
Well, it is, and the
So-
reality is we know that the Omicron is similar to a lot of what you would normally have this time of year with the cold
Absolutely.
symptoms. Whereas before with COVID, a lot of people lost their taste, They lost their sense of smell.
Right.
That's not what's happening with Omicron. That
you're
was
right.
Delta. That was also with the original coronavirus. That's not what's happening in Omicron. It's people that have sore throats. It's
Yep.
people that have upper respiratory issues, pressure in their nose, even diarrhea or things like that, headaches.
Yep.
You know, if this is unusual for you to have these kinds of things, then that's a sign that you probably might be coming down with something.
Right.
And it may not be COVID,
Right.
but it might be. And so don't take the chance by eating with other residents at
Absolutely.
this point, or
Absolutely.
associating with other residents. And we just,
Yep.
you know, protect, we're a family here. Let's protect ourselves
Yep.
as much as we can.
Absolutely. And also, going with that, if you're sick, doesn't have to be COVID sick, it can be other kind of sicknesses, meal delivery would be complimentary. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to go out to get your meal. We will deliver for you with any type of sickness like that.
That's right.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And even throw in a bottle of wine. I mean, oh, no. Okay. Sorry.
Only if all the winners from the past all want to donate their wine back. And no, I'm kidding.
Oh, that was my last question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now to the lighter side of the news.
Well, we do have to work on our laugh muscles every now and then, don't we?
We do,
Yes.
absolutely.
Otherwise, they atrophy.
Yes.
So, let's see if our executive producer will call us up. I think I have some that'll
Actually, I
make you
think
chuckle.
It's the assistant executive producer
Okay.
that's doing
Oh,
this
oh.
for us today.
Of all the things that taste like chicken, it's weird that eggs are not one of them. Have you thought about
That's
that?
a good point.
Yeah, because everything else tastes like chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you, it's a strange world, isn't it?
Okay.
Now, some of us are chocolate lovers.
Yeah.
You'll like this
Yes.
if you're a chocolate
Okay.
lover. They say every piece of chocolate you eat shortens your life by 2 minutes. I did the math. Seems like I died in 1543. Now, that person
That's
was
good.
a real chocolate lover.
That's pretty good.
A real serious chocolate lover. 9 out of 10 husbands agree that their wife is always right. The 10th one mysteriously disappeared and hasn't been heard from since. Tom and I are here because we're smart.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, all right. I like this one. Tom will love this one. Local man addicted to brake fluid says he can stop anytime he wants. You know, I guess it's
Wow.
nice if there's any positive thing that ever comes out of an addiction, but that's one, I
Yeah,
guess. He can stop
yeah.
anytime. I had a friend that used to say he could quit smoking anytime he wanted. He'd done it 100 times. I don't know if that counts. but- Okay. First you buy me a new coat, and now a trip to Lions Safari Park? What's got into you lately?
Oh, that's pretty good.
It is. Okay, now this next picture is a picture of a trampoline on the top of a floor, the roof of like an apartment building, okay? It's a little bit small, so it's hard to see. Trampoline for sale, only used once.
Oh, that's bad.
That's bad.
That would be scary. Wouldn't you think jumping on a trampoline?
Yeah, I would not
I
jump on
can't
a roof
imagine
trampoline.
that.
I mean, one false move and you really are gone.
Oh, gosh.
Back to marriage. Marriage is a relationship where one person is always right and the other person is the husband.
Yep.
Keeping that marriage theme. Have you checked our lottery ticket yet, Brenda?
Oh.
There's a note on the pillow and all the clothes are gone.
She's gone.
I'm guessing that she did check it.
And she is gone.
Just a guess. As a kid, I used to watch The Wizard of Oz and wonder how someone could talk if they didn't have a brain. Then I got Facebook.
Oh. Yep.
My wife just stopped and said, "You weren't even listening, were you?" I thought to myself, that's a pretty strange way to start off a conversation.
I've seen that one. I like that one. I've seen that one.
Yeah. I accidentally rubbed ketchup in my eyes. Now I have hindsight.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
I know it.
Wow.
That's a groaner right
That
there.
is.
Yep. I never thought I'd be the kind of person who'd wake up early in the morning to exercise, and I was right. Now, this next one, again, you'll have to kind of look closely. The top one says, I wish I weren't an old man. Poof. Now he's an old woman.
Oh my gosh.
Which brings me to the point of specificity. When you're praying,
Yes.
especially, be more
Be
specific.
specific, right?
Be more specific. Yep. Some of my friends exercise every day. Meanwhile, I'm watching a show I don't like because the remote fell on the floor.
That's a bummer when that happens.
It
really
is. It
Yeah.
really is. And you just can't quite muster the strength to get down and get it. Yeah. Last one. I'm not much on seizing the day. I just kind of poke it with a stick,
That's good.
Yeah.
which is a different philosophy.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Those were good.
Yeah, we
Poke
enjoyed
it with a stick.
Test
We've
it
been
out.
we've been doing a lot of that
Yeah,
Yes,
we
we
have.
have.
Oh my gosh.
lately.
Okay.
Okay.
Where are we, Lisa?
We're to the winner today.
Okay.
Yes, the trivia winner. So the question was, whose picture is on the $10,000 bill? The answer is Salmon P. Chase.
Salmon P. Chase.
Salmon P. Chase.
Salmon? Is it salmon or salmon?
S-A-L-M-O-N.
Oh, it's salmon.
Salmon.
Or as we say in Texas, salmon. Yeah.
It's Salmon P. Chase. So I did not know that. I really didn't know we had a $10,000 bill.
No, like
I
hate
didn't
to
know we
say
had
that,
a
but I
Salmon P.
I
Chase.
did not know that.
I don't even know who that is.
Do you think that's the highest bill we have?
I don't know.
If there's a higher bill, call in the next minute and tell us.
I think my bill.
Lisa will bring you another bottle of wine.
Yeah.
If there's another higher bill, call us. Higher than $10,000. 336-389-4103. They're going to
Let us
call
know if there's a bill that's
if
higher
there's a
than
bill
something.
higher than $10,000.
I mean, other than a medical bill, right?
Yeah, Lisa's offering another bottle of wine in case somebody.
Oh,
Oh, here we got somebody calling.
we got somebody.
Okay. All right, we're all anxiously waiting here with Dead Space
Yeah.
here. on
Is
our
there
question.
another bill?
Well, I think
Oh,
Okay,
Okay.
here we go. Okay.
oh, it was Dick Witt. Okay.
Oh, okay. well,
They
there we
don't
go.
make anything higher.
All right.
Okay.
The highest
okay.
bill they accept
Okay.
now is $100. They
Okay.
don't make anything bigger.
I think Dick Witt should get a bottle of wine, though. He called in. He called in.
yeah.
And Brian said, and look how that worked out for him.
And it sounds like he's been watching us and he's at home. So,
All right, Lisa, we'll let you call that one. So, all right.
okay. So, the winner today was Lou Insidious.
Ah, very good.
And they also watch us a lot. So,
do.
thank you for watching. And they won the bottle of wine.
Wow.
So, awesome.
Cheese wine.
Cheese,
very good.
Cheesecake
It's
Factory
very
wine.
good.
Yes. Merlot.
No, it's Merlot.
Merlot.
A lot of Merlot. Okay.
Okay.
We have something we want to end with today.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
I almost let that go. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So our associate executive producer is going to play a little clip for you that that was passed on to us.
Yes.
I think that's probably we'll leave it at that.
Right,
It was passed
right.
on to us. And honestly, it was passed on to me first. And here we go. Enjoy.
Shoulder taps. So Tony and I are having lunch at California Pizza Kitchen the other day, and across from us I noticed this elderly woman sit down. She's dressed nicely, and she's at a large table by herself for about 5 minutes, and then what appears to be her daughter shows up, and I don't recall, 2 or 3 grandkids, and they all look spectacular, ready for a nice meal, obviously. And at about that time, a voice in my head starts saying, you need to go tell her how pretty she looks. So I don't even know if we're eating at this point or not, but the food arrives, check arrives. We're going to go down the walkway a little bit in this strip center and look for something. And that's the next thing that we're going to move to. So Tony stands up. I don't tell her any of this. And on my way out, I just kneel down and kind of get into this position where I'm at her level, right where she's now in her chair. And I said, hey, if nobody else has told you yet today, I just want you to hear from me how lovely you are. And she looks at me with a look I've never seen before and says, I know you. And I said, no, we don't know each other. And she said, I know your spirit. And it gets really quiet between us. And she says, my husband died a year ago. And that's something he would have said to me. And at that moment, I can't talk. I can't talk. I'm overcome by emotion. And I just hug her and smile at her through tears. And I leave. But here's what I know, and here's the reason I'm telling you this. I believe that God taps us on the shoulders and uses us at just the right moment. And what I know for sure is that she was blessed and I was enormously blessed. So I've learned in my life to listen to these shoulder taps because they do happen. And I believe the more that we listen to them, the more in alignment we are with God. And that's an awesome place to be. Shoulder taps.